78 in a row means nothing.
Here, it's only about championships.
Anything less is unacceptable.
I've never lost a college game, and I don't want to.
We're back.
The champ is here.
It's been 222 days since they cut down the nets in San Antonio, and this afternoon it's time to get back to work. We are at Gamble Pavilion in Stores, where Holy Cross meets #1 ranked UConn on opening day. And a very pleasant good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bob Picozzi, and welcome to another season of UConn women's basketball here on CPTV. In just a couple of moments, Megan Kumo will join us. But first, UConn's 6 national championship banners are about to get some company. John Tewitt is the public address announcer here at Gamble Pavilion.
As we begin a new regular season today, we want to take a moment to share our Husky pride with our loyal fans and CPTV audience. Please direct your attention high above the Gamble Pavilion floor as we honor last year's perfect 39-0 championship season. UConn fans, we proudly present your 2010 UConn Women's Basketball National Championship banner.
So there it is, banner number 7. Only Tennessee with 8 has won more. And UConn will have an opportunity this season to become only the 3rd team in women's college basketball history to win 3 straight national championships. And the Huskies will begin the season with an NCAA record 78-game winning streak. It all begins today. And you know, there are 332 Division I women's basketball teams in the country, but only one of them gets to open its season this way. Back with the starting lineups and opening tip right after this. It's the 37th season opener for UConn, and the Huskies will try to extend their winning streak in openers to 15 consecutive years. And a very pleasant good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bob Picozzi along with Megan Kumo. You look younger every year. How's that possible?
Because you're not wearing your glasses. That's why.
Great to have you back. But, Megan, this is going to be a very different UConn team than our viewers saw, which did cut down the nets in San Antonio last April.
Well, there's 5 freshmen on this team, and there's, obviously so much was lost with Tina Charles in the center. But I just am excited about what this team has to offer, because you just don't know what you're going to get. And for us as announcers, that's a lot of fun to see something new and different every night. It's not so great if you're the coach of the team. 5
of the 10 players are freshmen. Let's check out the starting lineups. First, for the visitors from Worcester, Massachusetts, the Holy Cross Crusaders. Amy Lepley scored 18 points and had a career-high 11 rebounds on opening night in a loss to Yale on Friday. And for UConn, Maya Morg has the opportunity to do something that no UConn player has ever done. A chance to be named the National Player of the Year 3 times, and a chance to become UConn's first 4-time first-team All-American. And now it's time for Kumo's Keys. What do the Huskies have to do to get this season off to a good start, Megan?
Well, here, you got to forget the past. I mean, that's what you got to do. There it says paint. You got to forget the past. The banner went up. You got to forget about that last year. That was last year. Going forward, every single player's got to step up, and that includes Maya Moore. And certainly the freshmen have got to step up. And consistency. They've got to be consistent. It's going to be hard early on. They've struggled with it in practice because everything is so new, but that's what they've got to look forward to.
Gino Auriemma beginning his 26th season at UConn. He, of course, coached the United States to the gold medal in the World Basketball Championships in September, and will coach our Olympic team in 2012. And the same year that Gino began as the head coach at UConn, his counterpart on the other bench, Bill Gibbons, began his tour of duty at Holy Cross. There's Bill. He's taken his team to 11 NCAA tournaments, and we are underway And in what can only be described as a stunning development, Heather Buck and Lauren Dixon getting the starts instead of freshmen Bria Hartley and Stephanie Dolson. Here's Moore in the lane, lays it up, no good. Rebound taken down by number 3, Bree Malone. Malone had a 14-point game in her college debut against Yale on Friday. This is 32 Lepley, who had a double-double against Yale. Malone defended by Dixon. Shot clock down to 10. Alex Smith part of that all Holy Cross starting freshman backcourt. Shot clock down to 3. Smith lets it go and rebounded by Kelly Farris. Good first defensive possession.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know what you're going to get with this crew out there. Everyone keeping the purple shirts in front.
Hayes had 45 of those threes a year ago. And, of course, how far she steps up her game with the graduation of Tina Charles may determine in large part how UConn does this year.
Well, there's no question about it. Tiffany Hayes has got to really be involved in every aspect of the game, but certainly on the offensive end.
Preseason nominee for all the National Player of the Year awards. Malone from the left. Long rebound run down, last touched by Holy Cross. Hayes with the first basket of the season.
Well, there, I mean, Holy Cross, you know that Tiffany Hayes is a tremendous three-point shooter. You got to get out and contest the lefty.
Holy Cross would like to play man-to-man and press. That's what they plan to do during the Patriot League season. Bill Gibbons told us before the game, Meg, he knows he can't do that against this UConn team.
No. They can't do it. They just have to come out and try to compete. But once again, you can't get beat by the same thing 2 possessions in a row.
Malone quickly the other way, and Maya Moore will be called with the first foul of the afternoon. Let's look at Benita Spence, who's working the game with Fatu Kasoko and Dwayne Mack. And at the line will be Bree Malone, and what a spectacular collegiate debut she had against Yale.
Well, how about my girl Bree Malone again? Now, in a disappointing loss to Yale at home, but my gosh, played 25 minutes, 14 points, perfect from the line, 6 of 6, coming in and playing a big game against Yale. Again, they didn't get the win, but part of a very, very strong freshman class.
And a all freshman backcourt along with Alex Smith. But Bill Gibbons is very high on both of them. Here's Farris. Up top, Buck, who got her first UConn start tonight. Dixon. Finds Hayes. Can she make it 3 straight threes? Rebound inside Moore, and a foul will be called on number 10, Alyssa May. So Moore will go to the line, and Megan, that's something Gino Auriemma would like to see more often this year, her going to the line.
Well, yeah, he said she has got to get to the line. They're going to take other things away. I mean, she knows she's a great three-point shooter, but she's got to, you can get to the line a couple different ways. Dribble penetration, there you saw crash the offensive board and got fouled on the putback.
Think of all the great players who have played here at UConn, and Maya Moore has averaged more points per game, 18.7 in a career, than anyone in UConn history. About 10 games into the season, she will become the leading scorer in UConn history, breaking the record just set by Tina Charles last year. Farris blocks Malone's jumper. Mad scramble, last touch by Holy Cross.
Well, Kelly Farris is such a great defender, great on-the-ball defender, a tremendous rebounder. I mean, keeps the ball in front there, anticipates the shot by the freshman Malone, gets a hand on it without the foul. That's okay. She's got to step it up offensively, though.
Farris played her best basketball last year at the NCAA tournament when it mattered most. Moore with the miss, rebound on a hop to Farris. To Dixon on the blow by.
And that's what Lauren Dixon is best at, using her explosiveness to get to the basket.
Gino Auriemma said, look, when we put her in the game, the tempo picks up automatically, not only offensively, but also defensively. Catch and shoot by Lepley, rebound again by Farris. She already has 3.
And a little bit of a surprise that Dixon and Buck both started, but let the freshmen take a look and come in and really change the game.
Great look down low to Buck.
What a pass from Maya Moore. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Maya's scoring numbers went down this year, because she's got to get everybody else involved.
Moore a year ago 6th in the Big East in assists with 150. Nice cut to the hole and layup by Whitney Freemo.
Yeah, it was a tremendous back cut by Freemo, and she was found. Nice pass as well.
Dixon to Moore. Right side Farris for three. And Hayes comes flying down the lane for the rebound.
And took out Heather Buck.
UConn out rebounding Holy Cross 7-1 in the early going, and the long three by Freemo.
The senior tri-captain from Manchester, New Hampshire knocks down the quick three.
Veteran player who Bill Gibbons would like to see and plans on having her bring the ball up the court to give Smith a rest. And away from the play, we're going to get a foul called, and it will be on setting the screen.
Is that on Maya Moore?
I think it's number 2 on Moore. It is. Her second and 2 on the team. Tiffany Hayes was a second-team All-Big East selection last year as a sophomore. Preseason first-team All-Big East this year. She's already got 8 points.
When the banner drops tonight, you know, it's going to bring back memories of the past 2 years and what a great team we had. And I'm just lucky to be able to be a part of that team. And a lot of emotions are going to be running through tonight, but we're just going to try to make it through this game.
Well, Megan, this is Tiffany Hayes' 79th game, and the next game she loses will be the first game she loses.
It's pretty incredible to think that this child has not lost a game since she's come to college, but she's got such a sweet release, deadly from both sides of the floor, and you know, she hustles, she scraps, she gets on the offensive glass. And they need her to do so much more this year.
Well, the first of UConn's 5 freshmen is on the floor. Number 11, Samari Walker, has replaced Heather Buck. Dixon up top to Moore. Puts it on the floor, kick out Hayes for 3 again. Tiffany Hayes has already knocked down 3 3-pointers. She's got 11 points in the first 4 minutes and 45 seconds.
I'd say she forgot about the past, huh?
Right side Smith, rebound on a hop by Dixon. This is what Dixon does best. Watch her push the ball up the floor to Hayes on the wing, and she'll draw the blocking foul. It will be on number 21, Meredith Ward, her first, and 2 on the team. And Hayes will go to the line to shoot a couple.
First personal foul, second on the team.
There's a look at Dixon, who missed the first 9 games last year with a hamstring injury. And I think it's safe to say, Megan, that observers, particularly those attending the 2 exhibition games, expected Bria Hartley to get the start.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bria, here she is, replacing Dixon.
Well, you know what? I love the idea of starting Lauren Dixon because, number one, she's an upperclassman. I mean, she's a senior. You got to get something out of her. And if you start her, well, you can bring Bria Hartley's explosive offense off the bench. Lauren Dixon doesn't provide that explosive offense, so get her started, keep her confidence up, and then bring in Hartley, who will change the complexion of the game.
Well, Hartley's going to play 30 minutes, that's for sure. The right side jumper is good by Kelly Hamner, one of 5 freshmen on the Holy Cross roster. Hayes again. Somebody needs to get a hand in her face. Moore saves it. Good reversal back to Farris. Puts it on the floor. Counted in the foul.
See, last year, Kelly Farris may have penetrated and kicked it to Maya Moore in the corner. I like the aggressiveness offensively by Farris to take it to the hole and get herself fouled. See, nice hustle by Moore to save it, but she sneaks back in that right corner. She could have kicked it back. I like it. That tells me that Farris is thinking score.
First foul on Malone, 3 on the team. Farris last year in the NCAA tournament had a career high 16 points in the Sweet 16 against Iowa State. Career high 10 rebounds in the second round against Temple. She played very well in the Final 4. She tied her career high with 6 assists in the semifinal against Baylor. And in the national championship game, she had 7 big rebounds against Stanford.
I mean, to shoot 64% for the tournament, that's a sign of a true competitor. She just raises her game.
Holy Cross turning the ball over, only their second after committing 26 turnovers on Friday against Yale. Farris with the miss. Rebound 21, Meredith Ward. Pass up the floor deflected by Farris. And Holy Cross will inbound in front of the UConn bench. Bill Gibbons was telling us that he actually attended an Assumption Holy Cross exhibition men's game the other night because Gino Auriemma's son Michael is now a sophomore at Assumption, transferred from St. Joe's, and Bill was complaining that he says, I got 5 freshmen on the team, and Gino says, well, I got 5 freshmen too, and he said, I'd like to have your 5 freshmen anytime. And then typical Gino, he said, I'll tell you what, I'll drive 2 of the 5 up here tomorrow morning and you can keep them. They've been friends for a long time. They actually started coaching in their respective positions in the same year back in 1985, and they're still at it.
And a lot of people wonder why Gibbons keeps playing the Huskies. As you see the score 22-9, but he gets something out of it, and he loves it.
Farris with the cut, can't finish. Samari Walker with the offensive rebound. We'll see a lot of that this year.
I mean, what a big presence inside. You're going to love this kid, folks.
In the second exhibition game against Indiana, Pennsylvania, Walker had 22 points, 15 rebounds, 9 for 10 from the floor in 18 minutes.
The kid knows how to score around the basket.
Farris to Moore. Fakes and is called for the travel. Second turnover on UConn. There's a look at Samari, who went to the same high school as former UConn great Tamika Williams.
Yeah, let's see if she's got the same personality over the 4 years that we saw out of Tamika, but you can see great high school numbers. A McDonald's All-American and Parade second team All-American.
She was invited to try out for the U.S. 18 and under national team last summer, a team which fellow UConn freshman Bria Hartley and Stephanie Dolson both played on. Jen Rosati coached the team. Here's Alex Smith shooting over Farris.
That's a tough shot there from Smith, who played at the Petty School. What, they won like 14 consecutive state titles in New Jersey. They're
14
unbelievable
straight New Jersey
program.
Prep League championships. Walker up top, faces the hoop, finds Hayes looking for a 4th three.
She just makes it look so easy.
She's got 15 points in the first 7.5 minutes. Fremo with her second 3. Rebound Walker again. And we'll get a silly reach-in foul. Or was it just, yep, they called the foul on number 10, May, her second, and 4 on the team. Look at Hayes in the early going.
I mean, this has happened before with Maya Moore's freshman year. She outscored Holy Cross in the first half. Right now, Hayes outscoring the Crusaders 15-12.
Huskies 4 for 8 from 3-point range, and all 4 of those threes from Tiffany Hayes. Dixon comes back in. So it was a very short stay on the court. On the bench for Dixon. Hayes fights her way around the screen, but then May reaches in and commits her 3rd foul. And 5 on the team.
Nice patience on offense by the Huskies. I like the spacing, the tempo.
UConn has won its last 19 home openers. Tiffany Hayes, 15 points in the first 8+ minutes. It's a 15-point UConn lead.
It's the biggest night in comedy when Tina Fey brings home the Mark Twain Prize. Join Steve Martin, Betty White, Steve Carell, Jimmy Fallon, Tracy Morgan, and many more for Tina Fey, the Kennedy Center Mark Twain Prize.
One of the funniest people ever, Tina Fey, the Mark Twain Project, tonight at 9 on CPTV.
It's a shame she doesn't have much talent, huh?
Yeah, writing, performing.
This UConn team has its share of talent, out rebounding Holy Cross 13-3 in the early going. And checking in for the first time is Stephanie Dolson, the highly regarded 6'5" freshman from Port Jervis, New York. There she is with the ball. Nice backdoor cut to Hartley. They look like they've done that before. They were teammates on the U.S. under-18 national team this summer. But the Huskies have big plans for Dolson, who is wearing Tina Charles's old number 31.
Big shoes to fill.
Rebound at 5'4" to Dixon. She dribbled it off her foot, and because of her amazing quickness, she managed to avoid, would that be a self-turnover? Like an own goal in soccer? An unforced turnover, like they call them in tennis,
like an unforced error, yeah.
Dixon on the left for three. It's not her strength, but
you know what a difference that would make for this team if Lauren Dixon could consistently knock down threes. You know, I talked about those keys. Consistency is a key, and that's one of the ways. If she can get consistent offensively, it's just a whole new dynamic.
She was 4 for 12 from three-point range last year. Away from the play, we're going to get a foul called on Dolson, her first and number 3 on the Huskies, and we like what we saw Dolson do on her first possession at the other end.
Well, let's check it out. See, I mean, that's just from the repetitions that they do in practice. Yeah, they had some opportunity to play together in the summer, but when you run those drills so repetitively, I mean, they become like second nature, even at this early stage of the season.
Rebound went through the legs on the bounce of Hartley. And I think we have a clock issue, and official Dwayne Mack alertly pointed it out and blows the whistle to straighten it out. There's Dolson, who was a McDonald's All-American, had big numbers as a senior, and she scored 1,951 points in her high school career.
Well, and to average 23 points and 18 rebounds, as well as 6 assists a game, this young lady can not only score a rebound, but she can pass the ball, and that's going to make her an even bigger threat for the Huskies, but she's got to think shot first. So
they straighten out the clock issue. They're resetting the shot clock at 28. And Hayes will get a rest, sitting down with 15 points on 4 of 6 3-point shooting. Malone inbounds to Fremo. Up high down the lane, Lepley went right around Dolson.
A smart play by Lepley, knowing that Dolson is so much taller that she's going to have a little bit of quickness over her. Nice, smart move.
Lepley 6 feet tall, Dolson 6'5". Holy Cross doesn't have a player over 6 feet on their 11-player roster. Down low, Walker goes right for the hole. We'll get a whistle before and a traveling violation.
Huh. I thought that was a good move.
Third turnover on the Huskies. Gino Auriemma thought it was a good move too, as he,
well, as if he's going to agree with her as she runs by, right?
Communicating with Fatu Kosoko. On the left, 22, Alex Smith. Low block.
Nice double.
Fremo double team. Good quick ball rotation by Holy Cross, and it resulted in the open look from Malone.
I mean, the Holy Cross is, we've talked about this every year. You know, they're smart. The kids always play well together. They're well coached. And I like how the freshmen have responded. Gibbons wasn't sure, but they don't look afraid.
Here's Moore up top. Picked up 2 early fouls. Can't get it to go, and the rebound taken down by 32, Lepley.
Well, that's the thing that will certainly change things for UConn considerably should Maya Moore get in foul trouble.
On the left, it's Smith, and she knocks down another 3. Holy Cross a 7-0 run. The Crusaders now with 3 first-half threes. That's 3 more than they had against Yale. They were 0 for 11 the other night in three-point range. Hartley, stop and pop. Fans
and drop. Oh, my goodness. Well, one person that doesn't love her right now is Billy Gibbons, who just did a pirouette over on the sideline.
Bria Hartley can score so many different ways. A terrific shooter and can really beat you off the dribble. Nice cut for the goal by number 1 Hamner.
Great offense here by the Crusaders.
Well, Holy Cross looks like a team that's already got a game under its belt with some of the offensive execution we've seen. They're having their troubles, as we expected, off the backboards, getting out rebounded 14-5. Dolson down low, spins, goes the other way, and then Lepley just reached in and grabbed her wrist. Number 1 on Lepley and number 6 on the team.
Number 32, Amy Lepley.
Holy Cross has won 11 Patriot League tournaments during his stay, although they have not been to the NCAA tournament in the last 3 years.
Well, can you believe that this is the first time since, you know, what was it, maybe 06, where they haven't had anyone with NCAA tournament experience.
Right. Dolson's at the line. Of course, Gino Auriemma is sort of a cottage industry of him making fun of his post players. He used to call Rebecca Lobo the worst post player in the country.
The worst good post player.
So the other day he was talking about his post players, and he said, let me put it this way. If you were walking down the street and somebody was trying to beat you up, I don't know if you would want our post players on speed dial to help you. You might want to call someone else.
Oh, the sarcasm.
So Dolson will get a rest.
Yeah, he didn't make comments like that, you know, when they had Jamel Elliott, Tina Charles, guys like that in the lane who just had a fierceness about them. And that's what you need to be really good in the lane.
So the Huskies have only 3 points from Maya Moore, yet a 15-point lead with 8:20 to go in the half. Malone stops and shoots.
Well, I agree with Billy. He was saying that we're going to love his freshmen, and they're a lot of fun to watch.
Crusaders have made their last 5 shots against the team which led the country in field goal defense a year ago.
Well, that's where the 5 freshmen are going to certainly come in for UConn defensively.
Hayes, as she drove to the hole.
She's got 3 seconds to get up.
We'll get a blocking foul on Holy Cross. Foul is going to be on Malone. That's 2 on her and 7 on the team. Bree Malone played 4 years of varsity basketball in Springfield. So far today, she's got 6 points. UConn is shooting 62% in the first 12 minutes, out to a 13-point lead. Last time these two teams met, November 20th, 2009 in Worcester at the DCU Center. Big game for Heather Buck, who scored a career-high 7 points in only her second collegiate game. Tina Charles, 18 points, 9 rebounds, 21 points. Caroline Doty was 3 for 4 from 3-point range. And Buck had that career-high 7. Unfortunately, we're not going to see any of Caroline Doty this year, Megan. And if it weren't for bad luck, this young lady wouldn't have any luck at all.
Yeah, to have torn her ACL for the 3rd time in that knee, and first time was in high school, and then she did it against Syracuse 2 years ago, and then she did it again this summer, just tweaked it again, and she'll. The good thing is, if there is an upside to this story, is that she will redshirt this year and has 2 more years of eligibility. That's, you know, that's something that at least she's got to look forward to.
Had the surgery this time around on August 31st. Last year, 10th in the Big East in assists with 136. I was at practice the other day, and she spent the entire practice riding the exercise bike and working with athletic trainer Rosemary Regal. Tell you one thing about Caroline, there isn't an ounce of self-pity in her. She's not a why me, and she's just as you said, she's just looking forward to coming back and having 2 more years.
I asked, you know, where are you going to get, who's the best leader on your team right now? And he said Caroline. And I said, well, that doesn't help you too much since she can't play, but she's so active and so vocal. She's going to learn so much from this, and you know, when she comes back, she'll be so much better for having had this experience of watching and just observing.
Tell you what, little mix-up on Ward zigged when her teammate Hamner thought she would zag there, but chasing it down was Ganser to avoid the turnover. Shot clock at 2. Ward at the shot clock buzzer barely grazed the iron, throwing up that left hand. Nice pass and an even better one, and the foul. Farris to Moore to Hayes, and a foul on Hamner.
It doesn't get any better than that. I mean, Maya Moore, as great a scorer, she's an outstanding passer, and the strong finish by the southpaw.
So Hayes will go to the line. Hayes had a 25-point performance in the first exhibition game against Franklin Pierce. So the Huskies have scored 40 points in the first 12+ minutes of this one. A year ago, they averaged 81 points per game, 3rd most in the country. Hamner drives, and Hayes blocked it. Walker to Hayes, Moore ahead of everyone. Hayes finds her. Wasn't a very well thrown pass, and eventually is taken away by the Crusaders.
It was impressive that Moore even got her left hand on the ball.
Smith spinning, picks up the dribble, and hands to Hamner. Over to Malone. Bill Gibbons has 4 freshmen on the floor right now, along with Whitney Freeman. Malone, shot clock at 3. Goes around Farris and uses the glass.
I love Bree Malone. Nice aggressive take to the basket.
Averaged 19 points per game as a senior last year at Springfield Central High School. Hayes cutting without the ball, and Farris found her, and Bill Gibbons doesn't like that at all. So there's a timeout by Holy Cross, and UConn leads at 17. Well, the University of Connecticut community lost one of its giants on Thursday with the passing of Joe Soltis, who died at the age of 89 years old on Thursday. He was the sports information director at UConn from 1959 to 1984, and was really in a unique position to see up close, maybe more so than any other individual in UConn history, the absolutely tremendous growth of athletics from UConn from the days of the Yankee Conference. Joe was the sports information director when they joined the Big East, and Megan, he would be a fixture at games right up, you know, through last season. He would always stop by here, and he would always give us candy canes and mints.
He was. I'm going to miss him so much. He was such a sweet man, and you're right. He would bring these little candy canes and then just the little peppermint candies, and just his warm smile, his everything about him was just wonderful. And so, you know, my best goes out to that family, because we've all lost someone special, but certainly so special to the Soltis family.
Well, Joe also used to bring some constructive criticism. For example, one time he said, "Bob, you need to stop saying so-and-so has 21 points on the night." Hayes, by the way, now has a total of 23 points in the game. He said, "Don't say Taurasi had 21 points on the night. She had 21 points tonight or in the game." What does on the night mean? Stop saying that. So I've tried very hard to stop saying it. But Joe was a lot of things. And, of course, he was absolutely instrumental in increasing by leaps and bounds the media's coverage of UConn athletics in all sports. He was a big supporter of women's basketball, but above everything else, Megan, he was just a very, very nice man.
He was a great man. I'll miss him dearly.
And interesting, his last breath was taken on Veterans Day, and he was a veteran. He served in the Navy, and funeral services will be held. The wake will be Wednesday in Willimantic, and the funeral itself will be right here on the UConn campus on Thursday. So our condolences to Joe's family, including his son Mike, who's the director of communications at ESPN and a good friend to a lot of us in the industry. But if we can all leave this earth, Megan, with 10% of the admirers that Joe had, we'll be doing very well. What a run he had. Samari Walker will be at the free throw line to shoot the 1-and-1. Those were her numbers in high school at Chaminade Julienne.
And, you know, she strained her left hamstring the first week of practice, so she's a little bit behind. But you look at what she's done already. The exhibition game last week.
Lane violation. So they'll have a do-over.
Don't get many do-overs.
Right.
You got to make this one, Samari.
Well, because of the injury to Doty and graduation, UConn only has 10 players. That's it. 10. They're not going to go to the waiver wire, make any trades before the deadline. 5 of the 10 are freshmen, and 3 of those 5 are going to play a ton of minutes.
Yeah.
Hartley, Dolson, and Walker.
And then, you know, you start the season with Walker in the hamstring, and okay, she's doing well now. Well, you got Michaela Johnson with the bum knee, and how about that? Left-handed baby hook
By Ward, who was an AAU teammate of Heather Buck, remains very good friends with Heather. Ward is from Westerly, which, of course, is the first town across the border when you're going through eastern Connecticut. Hayes again. She's already scored 25 points. Career high is 28. Last year, her season high was 22. So she's exceeded that in the first 15 minutes of the season. Rebound is pulled down by Hayes, who got hit the top of the head.
It wasn't a painful thing. It was just her hair tie fell out.
Well, we can't have that. Moore can't get it to go. Moore is still sitting on 3 points. That basket and a foul early in the game. Lepley in transition, stops and pops. Ooh, missed badly.
I'm going to tell you, Maya Moore is going to be, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, who knows how this is going to play out, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of her scoring numbers did go down, because she does have to do so many other things, and her leadership and some of the intangibles.
Well, Holy Cross is just getting beat to death on backdoor cuts. Farris cut for the hoop and hardly found it.
You know, that's some of their youth and inexperience.
May stops. Can't get the roll. Rebound knocked out of bounds by Lepley. So UConn already has 13 assists on 18 first-half field goals. None prettier than that one, huh?
Wow.
I tell you, the fans are going to love this kid Hartley.
Who really built Stonehenge and why?
We're on a mission. We're on a quest.
Finally, the mystery is solved.
We're beginning to understand it in a way we've never been able to do before.
Secrets of Stonehenge on Nova.
It's a chance to see one of the great wonders of the world, Nova, Secrets of Stonehenge, tonight at 8 on CPTV.
Also on Tuesday night, by the way, the University of Connecticut women's basketball team will play its second game of the season. And oh, by the way, the #1 ranked Huskies are going to play the #2 ranked team in the country, Baylor. Baylor's actually tied with Stanford for #2 in the rankings. But Baylor is the team which tested UConn and Gino Auriemma in the semifinals, the Final Four, last April. And Baylor's also the team with 6'8" Brittany Griner, who is a real force to be reckoned with. Gave the Huskies fits at the Final Four. And this time around, Megan, there will be no Tina Charles to guard her.
There'll be a freshman, Stephanie Dolson. It'll be done by committee.
Hayes has a chance to equal her career high if she can make this free throw and complete the three-point play. And we still have 23 minutes left of the game. It's almost as if Tiffany's saying, what do you mean we lost players in graduation?
Well, you know, you love to see kids doing things, the hustle plays, you know, tracking down offensive rebounds, getting fouled, converting the old school three-point play.
The third foul on Malone, who will have to sit down. Holy Cross with 10 team fouls. So Hayes with 28 points has already equaled her career high. Off the inbound. They'll do it again. And it will be Hamner, except this time on the side in front of the Holy Cross bench. Holy Cross will be right back in the state of Connecticut on Wednesday night in Hamden to visit Quinnipiac. Stolen by Dixon, was deflected by Moore, and then as Moore drives to the basket, she will draw the foul and get to the line to shoot a couple.
Reaching foul number 22, Alex Smith.
Foul on Alex Smith. And that will be her first.
First person to foul on Smith.
Bill Gibbons was saying, look, we were unable to sign any big kids a year ago, so we're going to have to try to draw the opponent's big kids away from the basket. We want to press, and he was telling us, Megan, he thinks they'll be able to do that effectively in the Patriot League where there's not a whole lot of pressing. He just knows he can't do it tonight against UConn with their size advantage.
Exactly, but already with what I have seen of this young Holy Cross team, they're going to have a very successful season in the Patriot League. They struggled last year at 5-9 in conference. I suspect they will be much better this year.
Timeout Holy Cross to avoid the turnover with UConn up 53-27 with 3:01 remaining. Getting back to that Baylor game, and what an interesting test that is for the Huskies early in the season. Gino Auriemma said, look, if used properly, a game like this can only help you. If we win and our big guys play great, it should give them tremendous confidence. If we lose and they play poorly, it will give them a chance to learn from their mistakes. There's no downside. And you know, I know, Megan, our viewers think the world and really obsess over the 78-game winning streak. But the head coach of this team isn't the least bit fearful of losing a game and having the streak end. He doesn't think there's any way in the world this team is going to go undefeated this season, particularly when you look at their schedule. They play 11 of the top 25 teams in the country this year. and Tuesday night is going to be a real test against Baylor, particularly because of Griner's size.
Right, and you know, lucky for Gino and the Huskies, they're playing at home in the friendly confines of the XL Center. But you know, that's the great thing about college basketball. You know, on paper says one thing, but you got to play the game. Who knows what'll happen?
Primo air ball, rebound is pulled down by Farris. Quickly the other way, it's Hayes. Farris already with 4 first-half rebounds.
The freshman Hartley jacks that 3 up like it's a layup.
The first of many career 3s. She averaged 30 points a game last year at North Babylon High School on Long Island. UConn has scored 56 first-half points. Smith to Fremo. Shot clock down to 8. Clock down to 4. Smith down low. Lepley can't get it to go. And the rebound to Dixon. Has Moore to her left. Hayes left. And Hayes stutter step. Turnover number 5 for UConn.
Yeah, she did. She was moving a little too quickly.
But the UConn schedule, I mean, UConn will play Baylor, as we mentioned. Baylor and Stanford are tied for 2 in the rankings. Well, they'll play them both. They play number 5 Duke, number 7 Ohio State, number 9 Oklahoma, number 11 West Virginia, number 12 Notre Dame twice, number 13 Georgetown, number 14 Florida State, number 16 St. John's, number 18 North Carolina. They're playing everybody but the Heat.
Well, you know, Gino has always said that, you know.
Oh.
Wow.
Smith with 3 first-half threes.
To be the best, you got to play the best.
Farris on the left. 1:20 to go in the half. 56-30 Huskies, and Moore with the left hook. So she has 7. Moore needs only 4 more points to become the second leading scorer in UConn history. Second only to Tina Charles. Fremo can't get it to go. Rebound in traffic. Lepley lost the handle to Hayes with a minute left. Maya Moore right now 4th leading scorer in UConn history, and Hartley with another 3.
Oh, welcome, young freshman.
UConn with 7 first-half 3-pointers already in 14 attempts. The Huskies are shooting the lights out. 69%. Down low will get a hold. And it looks like this one will be on Hartley.
How about that? She was way back. She was almost on Billy Gibbons' bench when she took that.
First foul on Hartley, 4 on the team. UConn has assisted on 16 of 22 field goals. And a lot of times you see sloppy play in your first game of the year. We really haven't seen that from the defending champs. And that's pretty good telling stats. 16 of the 22 field goals with assists.
That's one thing that's very impressive. Not only the way they execute, the way they share the ball, the way they play offense hard.
Fremo missed. Hartley with the rebound. Shot clock is off. Normally Gino Oriema would use his first half use it or lose it timeout here, but I think given the score,
yeah.
and of course he claims that his friendship with the other coach never mattered. I'm not so sure about that.
How can it not?
Down low Hayes, and she now has a career high 30 first half points. Holy Cross has 30 points, and Tiffany Hayes has 30 points.
Halftime score, UConn 63, Holy Cross 30.
11 for 13 from the floor, 4 for 6 from three-point range. It began with the lowering of the banner, the 7th national championship banner, and then it was the Tiffany Hayes show. She scored as many as Holy Cross in the first half.
The champ is here! The champ is here! The champ is here!
78 in a row means nothing.
Here, it's only about championships.
Anything less is unacceptable.
I've never lost a college game, and I don't want to.
We're back.
The champ is here!
Welcome back to Gamble Pavilion here at halftime. CD, you guys in control, but the story right now is Tiffany Hayes. Holy moly.
She played great. I mean, started off well with the 3-pointers, and just we made some great cuts and getting her a lot of open layups. So it's and she missed free throws though. She would outscore them if she would have made her free throws. But she had a great half.
Well, how about the starting lineup? A couple things different. The point guard and in the center, a little bit different from what a lot of people expected.
They weren't at practice, so you come to practice and you probably have a better idea. But you know, there's a certain level that expectation that we have, and when it's not met, you're not going to play or you're not going to start. So there are things that we're learning. It's a process. It's a long, long process.
Yes, with a very young
hopefully
team.
we'll get it. Yeah, we'll get it.
All right. Good luck. Thanks, Bob. Oh my gosh, I forgot. Go.
Back to you, Bob.
You can't forget about things like that. Thank you very much, Chris. Let's check out the first half highlights. And you know, Tiffany Hayes is the first UConn player to wear number 3 since Diana Taurasi, who most UConn fans consider the greatest player in school history. And Tiffany Hayes would make her namesake, Miss Taurasi, feel very proud of her. Look at this first half effort. 11 for 13 from the floor, 4 for 6 for three-point range. She scored a career-high 30 points, and she did it in 18 minutes in the first half. Megan, you name it, and Tiffany Hayes did it on the floor in the first 20 minutes.
Well, you know, I talked about the top of the show of stepping it up, and certainly one way for this team that she's got to step it up and do different things offensively. My goodness, 4 threes, you know, perfect from the floor. To have 30 points in just 20 minutes of action, that just tells you something about her focus, and if she can keep it going, they will be much better than everyone thought, because everyone's talking about Maya.
UConn led the country in field goal shooting a year ago at 51%. The first half they shot 69.7%. Points in the paint 32-12. So certainly a very solid first half of the season for this very different UConn team than the one which we saw win its second consecutive national championship last April.
Well, one thing I know Gino Auriemma wants to see them do is get to the line more, particularly with Maya, but all of them, because it'll get other people in foul trouble in their opposition. But those would be some easy ways to get some points.
Malone can't get it to go, and Farris goes up in the air to pull down the rebound, already her 6th.
Well, one of the most fundamentally sound players on this team, Kelly Farris, is one of their very best rebounders.
Moore to Dixon. Same 5 which started the first half, starting the second half. And Buck will be called for the travel for the Huskies. Turnover number 6. Buck started the game, played only 4 minutes, and scored 2 points. She took only 1 shot. Did not have a rebound.
Well, you know, Chris Daly alluded to what happened at practice, and you know, the freshmen are going to have some ups and downs.
There's another turnover for the Crusaders. Only their 5th after committing 26 on Friday night against Yale. Dixon hitting the jumper on the run. She's got 7.
Well, and you know what? As a senior, Lauren Dixon coming up the floor, you should look to take that shot, not look to dish. That was a nice take.
Those 30 points that Tiffany Hayes scored in the first half, the most points in a half in UConn history. The previous high, 27. Diana Taurasi did it against Florida State, and Nikisha Sales did it en route to a school record 46 points, record which still stands today against Stanford. Backdoor cut Moore, and she's now got 9. And with that basket, she now moves into a tie with your former teammate Carrie Bascom as the 3rd leading scorer in UConn history with 2,177 points.
And Carrie, you know, didn't have the same amount of games that these guys played. She could score, man.
Fremo hits the shot, and Bill Gibbons will take a quick timeout. Minute 48 gone in the second half. So Maya Moore now tied for 3rd in UConn scoring history. Won't be long before she's all alone at the top. A festive atmosphere at Gamble Pavilion, and why not? The defending national champs out to a 35-point lead. Maya Moore, with this last basket, continues to climb the career scoring ladder, Megan.
Well, and boy, what I love about Maya is she can just score in so many different ways.
And that's her point total up to the second. Tied with Carrie Bascom for 3rd. Needs 1 point to tie, 2 points to move ahead of Nikisha Sales into second. Of course, Nikisha held the record from her senior year, which would have been 1998, until Tina Charles broke it out in South Bend against Notre Dame.
She's in some phenomenal company, that's for sure.
Maya averages 18+ points per game, so you do the math. It should take her about 10 games into the season to break Charles's record. And with that basket, Maya Moore is now the second leading scorer in UConn history, and she's got her whole senior year ahead of her.
Well, and the best thing about Maya is that, you know, she could care less about records, but I mean, I love how she earned those 2 points, you know, playing in the lane. That, you know, previous bucket was a layup. The kid can do things that very few players in the history of women's basketball have done, as UConn there creates a turnover with the Holy Cross walk.
Only the 6th turnover for the Crusaders. Moore with 12 points tonight, this afternoon. Has scored in double figures 102 times in 117 career games, and Hayes adding to her career high total. Now it's 32.
And that was a tremendous pass from Kelly Farris, just a heads-up play.
May. Huskies have now assisted on 20 of their 27 field goals. Some NBA teams don't get 20 assists in a month.
Well, I mean, that is a surprising statistic when you think about how young this group is.
Deflected out of bounds by Dixon, still Holy Cross ball.
But there you saw not a great inbounds pass, and then just the heads-up play to the opposite block from Kelly Farris to Tiffany Hayes.
It's interesting. Gino Auriemma was telling me the other day, he said, look, the team we had the last couple of years did things more instinctively, and I think it stands to reason. Shot clock violation on Holy Cross. This new group, they won't be able to do that. We're going to have to do things that are a little more structured. But I think we've seen anything but that so far in the game, because they look like they're reacting pretty good instinctively, as if they've played together for a long time.
Well, and that just shows you the sheer basketball talent, the athleticism. And you got basketball players on this team as well as athletes. You don't often get that combination.
And there's a classic example of someone who you would call a basketball player, Kelly Farris. She can really fill up a stat sheet. And with the graduation losses and the injury to Doty, she's going to get a lot more playing time this year, and I think she's destined for stardom.
Well, I mean, and the key is she's thinking score. She's thinking get to the basket. You know, in the past, she was just so content to pass the ball. But not that time, honey.
4th foul on Malone, 2 on Holy Cross this half. Farris came from a very successful high school program, Heritage Christian High in Plainfield, Indiana. In 4 years, they won 104-8. And you think Kelly would like to head back home to Indiana for the Final Four in Indianapolis in April?
That would be an incredible accomplishment, not only for Kelly, but for this young team.
Down the lane, Buck will be called for the foul.
UConn foul, number 32, Heather Buck.
Number 1 on Buck and number 1 on UConn this half.
You know, we talk so much about Tina Charles and the points and the rebounds, and certainly Kalena Green, the 5th-year senior, but the loss of Caroline Doty, too, is huge, along with the Gardler, McLaren, and Jackie Fernandez.
All adds up to they lost 55% of their points and 46% of their rebounds from a year ago when they went 39-0 for a second straight season.
And I contend that it's the leadership and the presence of Doty, which could be a real problem. That's a real big thing they got to fill this year. Nice take once again by Farris.
10 points for Farris. It's the 4th time that she has scored in double figures. UConn is shooting 75%.
Wow.
Rebound through the hands of Farris, but comes to Dixon on a hop, has more to her right. Cross court Farris looks for the cutter Buck, and she will be fouled from behind by number 32 Lepley.
Well, once again, the aggression, taking it to the hoop. Holy Cross being exposed.
4th foul on Lepley. She'll have to sit down. Replaced by number 34, Christine Ganser. Farris holds her high school's career records for rebounds, assists, and steals, and is the 2nd leading scorer in her high school history. Hayes for 3 more, air ball. And rebound comes to Holy Cross, and Buck took it right away and gives to Moore. Buck absolutely picked the pocket of Alex Smith. And here's Moore with another steal. And there's a collision, and the foul will be called on number 1, Hamner. Her second, and number 4 on the Crusaders. Maya Moore, I was going to say, does a little bit of everything. She does a lot of everything.
CTSN, the Connecticut Sports Network, is your home for local high school and college sports, including broadcasts of the CIAC state championships and live University of Hartford basketball games. Channel assignments and programming information are available at ctsn.tv. CTSN can be seen only on Comcast and Cox cable systems. That's ctsn.tv.
79-33. The Huskies on top. Look at Tiffany Hayes, career high 32 points. Now you made a reference as we were going to commercial break in the first half. Didn't have a time to really fully explain. What's the 3-second rule as it relates to number 3?
Gino has instituted this 3-second rule in practice because this team, particularly Tiffany Hayes, falls down more than any other team, I think, in the history of sports. If you don't get up in 3 seconds, you're coming out.
More not sounding through. I thought it was like the drop food normally associated with that. Normally it's more like a 10-second rule.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a block shot by Farris. It's the second time she's blocked a jump shot today. UConn 8 for 9. They shot 69% in the first half, and they've improved upon it.
Well, and you know what they've also done? They stepped it up defensively, and they're holding Holy Cross to a much lower shooting percentage.
Moore stops, pull up, rebound Hayes. Farris kept the rebound alive to Moore. Returns the favor, and Farris will be called for the travel. Only the 7th turnover for UConn.
And
82-33.
And you know, UConn's always been known for scoring, but it's their defense that has just been so stifling to opponents. Look at what they did last year. It's the reason they went undefeated and won their 2nd championship.
Holy Cross has already turned the ball over more in the first 5 minutes of the second half than the Crusaders did in the entire first half. Fremo stops from the foul line, rebound on a hop to Moore, and she gives to Dixon. That's rebound number 6 for Moore. Farris fills the lane. It's turning into a track meet.
That's a tremendous pass from Lauren Dixon. You know, Farris did a nice job running the floor, and if you run the floor, your point guard will find you.
Dixon's 4th assist. Ganser, one of the 5 freshmen on this Holy Cross team, has a sister, Katie, who plays basketball at Merrimack College as a sophomore. Hamner, guarded by the much taller Moore. Ganser's shot is blocked by Buck. 4th block shot for UConn, and 3 of them have been on jump shots.
I just love the way Lauren Dixon gets up the floor, sees the floor. She knew she was going to pass that ball to Kelly Farris.
And Buck gets a nice ovation as she departs, replaced by Dolson. Buck, a 2-time Connecticut Gatorade Player of the Year at Stonington High School, sat out her freshman year. She had been diagnosed with mononucleosis in the preseason, and she was way behind from a physical fitness program and didn't figure to play that much anyway, so they got together and decided best thing probably would be to redshirt. So this is her 3rd year on campus, but she only her 2nd year of eligibility, so she can return for 2 more after this year.
That's just such a smart move, and I give the kid a lot of credit because it's easy. You know, you want to come in and out with the same class of kids, and she's going to stay beyond, and it's just we get smarter with age.
Walker down low, spins. Dolson with the weak side rebound and a reset. Farris, good look to Walker.
I tell you, the passing has really impressed me here in this first game.
Farris, 12 points, 7 rebounds, and now 6 assists. Malone over Walker's outstretched arm. Rebound pulled down by Dolson. Here's Hayes, 2 on 3, and she'll wait for help. On the right side, Hartley. 3 freshmen on the floor right now. Hartley, Walker, and Dolson. Hayes around the Dolson screen. Dolson rolled to the hoop. Hayes found her. Kick out Hartley. Shot clock at 6. Low block Dolson. Good footwork.
Well, the kid has tremendous hands. You saw the nice footwork. Good body control. She's going to be a great, great player here.
What was one of those Kumo's keys? Forget the paint. Well, there's your points in the paint. 52-14. They haven't forgotten it at all. Shot clock down to 5. Malone gives to Ganser, and a traveling violation. Turnover number 11 for Holy Cross.
You talk about the inexperience and the freshman play. Well, how about it? Nice connection here. Hartley inside to Dolson.
Dolson last year was a McDonald's and ESPN Rise first team All-American at Minnesink Valley High School. Comes from Port Jervis, New York. Farris cross court Hayes. Low block Dolson. Passes out of the double team to Farris. And Walker fights for the offensive rebound.
She is a beast on the glass.
And one.
I mean, what a difference this child makes to this team. Get used to seeing number 11, folks.
Bill Gibbons might disagree with your characterization of her as a child, however.
Oh, yeah.
UConn's got 90 points with 12 minutes left. UConn has scored 90 points with 11:50 to go. Huskies have had their way over Holy Cross. And on this date in UConn history, there was a date with Holy Cross, November 14, 2007. It was the coming out party for one Maya Moore. It was her second college game. Back then, she didn't start. She came off the bench, scored 31 points in 19 minutes off the bench. She outscored Holy Cross in the first half, and she finished with 14 for 16 from the floor, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals. Already today, 17 points. And Bill Gibbons said, he told me, he says, you know, when Maya gets that first pro contract, she really ought to do the right thing and give me a cut of it, because the world discovered Maya Moore that night. He said she was a secret until she came off the bench and outscored my whole team in a half.
Well, there's something to be said for that, because, wow, she's not a freshman. Tiffany Hayes did the same thing here. Oh, yeah, she equaled.
30-30. UConn on a 47-6 run right now in the last 13 minutes.
Wow.
They've outscored Holy Cross 28-3 in the second half. The jump shot right side by Smith, no good. Long rebound. Dixon has a Hartley ahead of her. Instead, she'll hold up. Moore getting a rest on the bench now. Hartley to Dolson. So we have 3 freshmen plus a sophomore Farris and a senior Dixon on the floor. A holding call on number 21 Meredith Ward. Her second and 6th on the team.
Charge number 21 Meredith Ward.
Moore now second in career scoring, 4th in career rebounds. You see the rest. 5th in 3-point field goals, 6th in blocks. She's 9th in steals. And by the way, she's number 1 in points per game. She entered the season averaging 18.7 points per game. No player in UConn history has done that. Foul on the Huskies.
I think that was on Samari Walker.
Yep. Her first.
And, you know, that's the one thing that it will really get Maya and her teammates. It's certainly if that young lady gets into foul trouble. But if they get into foul trouble, I mean, we talk about it. They got 10 bodies. That's it.
Well, last year, of course, the question from the middle of the season on was, can anyone beat UConn? And you would hear the college basketball analysts around the country say, well, really, the only thing that could beat them, they could lose a game, maybe, obviously, with injuries to a key player, or foul trouble to their 2 All-Americans. Well, Moore didn't get in foul trouble a lot last year, but there were a couple of games she got in foul. She picked up 2 quick fouls against Stanford in that regular season game in December. And Gino Auriemma left her in the game with 2 fouls. UConn built up, I want to say, an 11-point lead. Then he took her out. While she was on the bench, Stanford outscored him by 9, and he put her right back in. UConn wound up winning the game by a huge score. Or actually, they had a huge lead. I think the final margin might have only been 12, but they were ahead by more than 20 points. So I think Moore is one of these players who can play with foul trouble as Walker hits the shot. And that's an art, by the way, because a lot of people can't.
Yeah, because you got to be really smart. Well, the UConn faithful will hope that that's the case this year. You get Samari Walker, Stephanie Dolson, freshman, you know, the inexperience.
Traveling violation on Alyssa May. Malone will come back in for Holy Cross. Maya Moore played on that U.S. team which won the World Basketball Championship in September in the Czech Republic. Gino Auriemma was the coach. His assistant was Doug Bruno of DePaul. And of course, they had a big UConn contingent on the team. Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, Tina Charles, Twin Cash, Asia Jones. Layup for Hartley.
Well, and another tremendous pass from her freshman teammate, Stephanie Dolson.
But Moore was the only college player on that team because Tina Charles already had completed her first season in the WNBA. And by the way, very successful season, WNBA Rookie of the Year. She led the league in rebounding as a freshman. Remember when Gino Auriemma used to get on her and say, "You're 6'4", you don't rebound enough." Well, she became the leading rebounder in UConn history, and in her first year in the WNBA, led the league in rebounding.
I joked with him about that the other night when we did the call-in show. Because he was going on. I'm like, do you remember how you couldn't stand watching her play her freshman year? Do you have that short of memory?
Well, when she was a sophomore, she didn't start in the NCAA tournament. Remember that?
Nice anticipation there by Walker, stepping in the passing lane, stealing that ball.
13th turnover for the Crusaders. 95-33 UConn. Walker down low, lowers the shoulder, and a chance for a three-point play.
This kid is just a scorer.
Well, you know, UConn is #1 in the country in the preseason for the 8th time as we get another look at Walker.
Nice, strong. I mean, she felt the defense on her back. And she knew she was in the middle of her back, leaning towards the high side. She knew she could just get to the bucket.
So the people who voted for UConn, I mean, they didn't just vote for them because they have Maya Moore. They looked at the returning cast and the incoming cast. So, I mean, we said before, it's a very tough second game of the year against Baylor. You think Baylor's there holding their hands, rubbing, oh, great, we get to play UConn.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
So it'll be interesting, and UConn will put a 79-game winning streak on the line. We're going to go ahead and concede this as a win. 98-33 with 8 minutes to go. That'll be a nationally televised game on Tuesday. Then Megan and I will be right back at you a week from today. 2 o'clock on CPTV for game number 3 against Georgia Tech. And that will be a Maya Moore homecoming. She's from Lawrenceville, Georgia, just 32 miles northeast of Atlanta. Buck is called for the push on the side.
You hear what the home fans think of that call?
UConn and Georgia Tech next Sunday in Atlanta, 2 o'clock.
I was going to say, I hope it'll be warmer than up here, but it's so warm today.
Beautiful day today.
And yesterday, wow.
The first UConn win in this 78-game winning streak, about to be 79, was against Georgia Tech. It was on opening day 2 years ago, right here at Gamble. Hamner had it knocked away from behind by Farris, and Buck comes away with it. Farris to Moore. Catch and shoot.
She is so dangerous there, Roman, the top of the key. She can do anything she wants with the ball.
Moore with 19 points. Farris with 7 assists. And that is a new career high for Farris. She had 6 in the national semifinal win over Baylor last April in San Antonio. Up top, Walker to Farris, who will hoist the 3. She's got 15. Farris is 1 rebound and 3 assists away from a triple-double on opening day. UConn is beating Holy Cross by 70 points.
You know, I was in reading, getting ready for this game, you know, I read somewhere something about, you know, the beginning with the Northeastern game, and I thought, oh no, we'll never have another one of those. Well,
rebound Walker gives to Hartley with 6.5 minutes remaining. Moore up top to Walker.
I don't think we're the only people, Bob, that are pleasantly surprised by just how good UConn looks.
Moore. The pass from Hartley and the no-look over the head basket. Hartley's third assist. Moore with 21 points. It's the 49th time she has scored 20 or more. Timeout, Holy Cross, for the sole purpose of making a substitution. So, and Laura Anglin, another one of UConn's freshmen, will go in. So much is going to be written and said about this streak, Megan. And talking to Gino Auriemma about it the other day, he said, look, the streak has never been a negative. I told the freshmen, you shouldn't be stressed over the streak because I said, it's not your streak. You had nothing to do with it. Don't worry about it. Start your own streak.
There you go, and that's the smartest thing to say. I mean, there's enough pressure. You have to remember, these are 18-year-old kids coming in, looking around. I mean, the banners, and you look at all of the other teams in history with remarkable streaks, you know, and everyone is looking at that 88 as it's something to aspire to. I mean, it's sort of apples and oranges.
Yeah, and let me tell you what Gino Auriemma said about it. He said, look, there are some similarities to what UCLA did, and of course that's the UCLA men's basketball team under the great John Wooden that won 88 in a row. He said there are some similarities to what they did and what we've done, but it's a different era. It's a different game. We even have different rules.
Right.
If we win 89 in a row, I don't think that means that we broke their record. But the fans have had some fun with it.
Well, and
I think I think if you're a fan, you always look in terms of, well, what's next?
Right.
So after they broke their own women's streak last year, remember the old streak was 70, held by the UConn women under, you know, in the Diana Taurasi era.
Right.
Next, people started talking about UCLA. And
well, and what else are you going to talk about? In this streak, they've won games by 33 points a game, and then against the top 25 in that streak, they've beaten them by 25. So you got to talk about something. You know, like it or not, people need something to talk about.
But the streak that UConn is much more concerned about would be 3. They want to win 3 national championships in a row. Hartley from the top of the key. Can't get it to go. Rebound pulled down by Laura Anglin, freshman from Laguna Beach, California. Boy, you think she's in for a rude awakening when we're in the middle of the winter.
Yeah,
from
speaking
Laguna
of
Beach.
weather, I was just going to say that.
There is no more beautiful place on earth than Laguna Beach. Storage can be nice. Not so much in the middle of the winter sometimes. I'm out.
Next time on Secrets of the Dead, a mysterious Roman island.
Bleak, desolate.
So rugged, few ships survive the voyage there.
5 shipwrecks are discovered within one contained area.
The Lost Ships of Rome on Secrets of the Dead.
CPTV presents Secrets of the Dead, Lost Ships of Rome, Wednesday at 8 on CPTV.
So look at Bria Hartley, and there's the 5th freshman, the only one we haven't seen yet, Michaela Johnson. She is 6'3", out of the Chicago suburb of Bellwood, Illinois. And Megan, she's twice undergone surgery for a torn ACL. Last January, her senior year in high school ended. Nowhere near 100% physically, and it's interesting that we have not seen her yet in this one-sided game.
Yeah, I know she's had some problems with some pain and swelling in that knee, and you know, just they've dealt with this enough. Just let her get healthy.
Dixon up top to Buckle. Most observers in the medical and athletic training community, as Dolson shows a nice use of the left hand again, will tell you it really does take a full year to fully recover from the torn ACL. Remember, Kalena Green blew out her ACL early in what would have been her junior year, right?
Yes.
And she got the year back because it was before she had played the game that would put you over the threshold where you couldn't redshirt. And Kalena was ready, was ready to play. She started opening night the next year, but she was much better in January than she was in November that year.
And I don't know if they have the luxury of redshirting Michaela this year, but, it has helped. I mean, Jessica Moore, it's helped some players.
Yeah, well, again, they only have 10 players counting Johnson.
Well, that's the question.
Which, by the way, one of the byproducts of that is when you have a blowout situation like this, he's already emptied his bench. He's only got 10 people. So someone like Dolson, and Hartley, that's the bench. You're not allowed to play 4 out there, although Norman Dale did it in Hoosiers. Remember that when the guy fouled out? Coach?
My team's on the floor.
My team's on the floor. He was trying to make a point. Dolson to the cutter, Hartley. And she'll draw the foul. And sure enough, looks like they're not going to redshirt Michaela Johnson because she's at the scorer's table ready to come in. So we will see the 5th member of this highly ballyhooed freshman class when we come back, with UConn winning it by 71. It is a very different UConn team than the one which won the national championship a year ago. Laura Anglin, one of 5 freshmen, and Megan, 3 of those 5 have certainly made their presence felt in their first game in a UConn uniform.
Well, when you think about these kids, they're 18 years old. Dolson, the big body inside, using the left hand so nicely, and this lady, I affectionately am calling her the Beast inside. And finishing up Rhea Hartley, Samari Walker, and then Michaela Johnson, as we were just talking about, just coming in the game, has been dealing with that left knee injury. And they're going to need her to step in and play some valuable minutes. And she's just, right now, you could just look at her build. She's just thin.
Averaged 16 points, 10 rebounds, 4 block shots. And she shot 72% from the floor last year as a senior. Missed the last 16 games because of the torn ACL. Played on a great team at Montini High School. They were 18-1 before the injury. They finished 33-2, and they won the Illinois Class 3A title. Ranked 46th in the country by ESPN's Hoop Girls magazine. And she is someone who figures to be in much better physical condition and stronger, particularly with the knee, later in the season than she is now.
I mean, yeah, imagine by Big East time, early January.
Of course, with the Big East. How many teams are in the Big East now? 20, 23, 24? No, they're only 16. But the season begins. The Big East opener is December 2nd. And they have to do that to get all the games in. I mean, they play about a 40-game conference schedule. Now, they only play, what do they play? 16 games. It's a different schedule for the men and the women. The men play 18. And, of course, it looks like there are going to be more teams coming to the Big East. Here's your preseason poll. Coaches aren't allowed to vote for their own team, so UConn got 15 of the 16 first-place votes. So a good detective can figure out that Gino Auriemma voted for West Virginia. They got the other first-place vote.
Well, Mike Carey did such a great job with the Mountaineers.
But the Big East, of course, there are only 8 teams in the Big East football conference. UConn is one of them. And the presidents and athletic directors of those 8 institutions have decided they are going to try to expand to 10. They have invited Villanova, who does not play Division 1A football, won the national championship last year at the next level, the football championship subdivision level. They would like Villanova to join them in the Big East football conference. Villanova is in the process of debating that. It is a very serious question. It is not a slam dunk. It is very expensive to make that commitment. And there's no secret that the Big East would like to add TCU for football. And TCU has said, we're not coming if it's football only. We'll only come if it's for all sports. Hartley draws the foul while shooting a 3. So she'll be shooting 3. But one way or another, we're going to, the Big East is going to have more than 16 members in the within the next couple of years. Central Florida might be one of them. And who knows? They may have to play the first conference game in July.
It just makes for an enormous Big East schedule.
We already played. The conference tournament is now 5 days long. And that's with 16 teams. Whole thing being done because of what's going on with the college football landscape and the other 5 power conferences.
The almighty dollar.
And all the conferences want to expand so that they can have enough teams, and the current number is 12 you need to have in order to have a very lucrative conference football championship game. So the Big Ten, which has had 11 teams for years, now has 12. Nebraska joins the Big Ten next year. The Pac-10 will have 12 teams. And driving is Malone. So how does this impact the Big East? Well, the answer is some of those conferences have already started to come after some of those Big East football playing schools. They would like them to switch. So the Big East, it's only good business to plan in the future and have your ducks in order and try to expand yourself in case you lose some of your members.
I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if some schools head out.
Alexis Nicholas, number 4, and 42, Caitlin Cole have checked in for Holy Cross. Cole had sprained her ankle in the preseason, just returned to practice on Tuesday. 2:40 remaining, and UConn has scored 111 points so far on opening day. Hartley to Johnson on the right. Goes baseline. Can't get it to go. Last touch by UConn. So UConn will play Baylor Tuesday night in Hartford. It's an unusual 6 o'clock start. The reason for that is it's part of a 24-hour basketball marathon on ESPN. So somebody has to play. Somebody has to play at 6 p.m. In fact, someone has to play at 6 a.m. And you know who's going to play at 6 a.m.? Our old buddy Steve Peichel, Stony Brook team.
Oh, that's right.
Playing Monmouth College at 6 a.m. Last touch by Holy Cross. It'll go the other way.
Now, I think about that, 6 a.m. I mean, I know that UConn eats 3 hours before a game or 4 hours.
You have your pregame meal at 2 a.m. What's wrong with that?
That is goofy.
There's a game in Hawaii that's going to be at 4 a.m. Eastern time. St. John's is playing at 2 a.m. Eastern time against St. Mary's out in California. So UConn should not feel offended that they're playing at 6 o'clock, because that's almost prime time.
Yeah, they should feel fortunate. It's going to be hard to get to the Excel Center with the traffic, but leave early, folks.
I'll take the day off.
There you go.
So a foul is called, and Laura Anglin will get to the free throw line. She is from Laguna Beach High School, where she averaged 19 points and 10 rebounds, ranked 95th by the ESPN Hoop Girls magazine. Knocks down the first one. 4-time Conference Player of the Year, had 8 points in the second exhibition game against Indiana. And I would say probably in the pecking order, Megan, once Johnson is healthy, you figure Anglin is probably 5th in the pecking order, but there's nothing wrong with that when you're talking about the #1 team in the country. She probably doesn't figure to see as many minutes, certainly, as Dolson or Hartley or Walker.
But you know what? That doesn't mean the minutes that she gets, aren't going to be just as valuable. You got to make the most. This is not going to be 1 or 2 players. They're going to replace the ones that have left to graduation and injury. As there's a foul here.
Johnson for first. Cole will go to the line. It's the most points UConn has ever scored in a season opener. But the thing about what Bill Gibbons, if people think that he's going to be hanging his head after this, what's that expression? What doesn't kill you can only make you stronger.
And that's truly, and you and I, we've been doing these games, and I've known Billy a long time. That's truly the way he looks at it. I mean, he lives for this game, and he knows they're going to get beat handily. He doesn't care. He only sees the positives. But to know him is to know that's how he looks at not only this game, but life in general.
He is very, very optimistic that his team is going to make a serious run at the Patriot League title this year. Last year they finished in a tie for 4th, which is uncharacteristically low for them. Johnson with the offensive rebound.
And, we were just talking about the youth of this Husky team, and it's going to be by committee. Even particularly with the young freshmen, it's going to be a different person every night stepping up to do something, and that's what you hope for.
1 minute to go. Dixon down low, Anglin can't get it to go. Johnson with her first collegiate points. Holy Cross will visit Quinnipiac on Wednesday. as they continue their run against teams from Connecticut. They played Yale on Friday, UConn today, Quinnipiac on Wednesday, and they'll play Central Connecticut later. Their Patriot League opener will be January 8th at Lafayette.
Well, Central with a big win over Jen Rosati's Hartford Hawks this weekend.
Every UConn player, all 10 of them have scored in this one. And do we have a spot? Yep. Eagle-eyed Fatu Kosoko saw some blood on the elbow of Caitlin Cole, so she'll come out while they get that taken care of. Bill Gibbons has won 486 games. He's in his 26th year at Holy Cross. He's the 25th winningest active coach in the country. Inducted into the New England Basketball Hall of Fame in 2003. And you mentioned Jen Rosati. Bill was an assistant and Jen was the head coach. Or also Jen was on that coaching staff for the Pan Am Games a couple of years ago. And there's the Patriot League preseason poll.
An unfamiliar place for Gibbons
to
be picked in the middle. They're usually up in the top two. But something tells me he'll finish up there.
This year, for the first time, the entire Patriot League tournament is going to be played on the campuses. There's going to be home games. The higher seed in each matchup will get to host the game. The whole tournament won't be at one location like it is in the Big East. Hartley hits the shot, and the Big East Championship, by the way, once again will be returning to the XL Center in March. UConn is going to host first and second round NCAA games here at Gamble. So Dixon with the steal. The shot clock is off, and certainly some very high grades for the Huskies on opening day, Megan.
I am pleasantly surprised at how good this team looked. From the 5 freshmen all the way to Maya Moore.
The second largest margin of victory in UConn history, and they've had just a few of them. And in the second half, UConn outscored Holy Cross 54-7. The 117 points, the third most in UConn history. Tiffany Hayes had 30 first half points. She finishes with a career high 32. We'll wrap things up and return to Gamble. It is the third highest point total in UConn history, the second largest margin of victory in UConn history. The Huskies outscored Holy Cross 54-7 in the second half, and they win their opener 117-37. Welcome back to Gamble Pavilion. I'm Bob Picozzi. Tiffany Hayes scored a career-high 32 points. She had 30 of them in the first half. She's with Megan Kumo.
All right, Bob, thank you very much. Tiffany Hayes, oh my gosh. Did you guys expect to come out and play this way? I mean, first game?
We had a feeling we would. We've been having a couple good practices. Ups and downs, but then again, we told ourselves we're going to come out here with energy and just come play our basketball, and that's what we did.
Well, to start things out here, you had the banner ceremony. What was that like for you guys?
Lost for words. That team, it was a special team, and I was just glad to be a part of it.
Well, and we could never call you. People joke and say how you're a loser, and you could say, well, no, I'm not, because I haven't lost a game yet in college. And now you got the big game coming up, against Baylor, number 2. Have you guys talked at all about that? And I know the right answer for the meeting is, oh, no, we don't talk about that kind of stuff. But between that and the streak, do you guys think about it?
Actually, we haven't even talked about Baylor before this game because we knew we had this game coming in. We can't look over them. They're a good team, so we can't overlook anyone. So we were preparing for this game, and then maybe tonight or today or tomorrow, we're going to think just about Baylor to try to get done what we got done today.
All right, talking about what you got done today, how about that first half? I mean, did you have a feeling coming out that you were just going to light it up like you did?
I felt good in shoot-around today, and mostly all my shots were going in, so I just decided to shoot all of them, and my teammates were finding me in open spots, and I just knocked them down.
And you were open moving a lot, too, which kept surprising me. But you were 12 for 16 from the floor, 4 from 7 from three-point range. CD happened to point out at halftime that you missed a couple of free throws. Figured leave it to CD to point that out, right?
Definitely.
Well, you also rebounded the ball. You had 5 rebounds and 2 assists. So the last thing I'm going to ask you about is the 5 freshmen. What is it? What are practices like for you guys with this young crew that you have?
It's a lot of work. You know, you got to talk them through a lot of things because they don't know the way, they don't know the system. We've been here for a while and they're still kind of learning. So you just have to stay on them, keep riding them, telling them what's going on, and make sure that they stay consistent in being a part of this team, like being a part of practice, talking all the time. So just little things like that.
Well, you guys did a pretty good job because they look great here. So thank you very much. Good luck Tuesday. All right. All right, Bob.
Okay, Meg, thank you very much. Let's take a look at the final stats, and there is one-sided as the final score. UConn out-rebounded Holy Cross 48-16. Huskies shot 66%. They assisted on 30 of 44 field goals. Hayes to 32 points. Maya Moore 21. And Bria Hartley 18. Kelly Farris 15 points, 9 rebounds, career high 7 assists. Samari Walker in her UConn debut had 12 points and 6 rebounds. So, Megan, we began the day by pointing out that it was going to be a very different UConn team than the one we saw, which won the national championship in April in San Antonio, and it is. And I don't think the freshmen could possibly have played any better than anyone's expectations would have been.
No, and it was different, but yet it was the same result. You know, it was a shellacking in what we're used to seeing out of Connecticut and the way they play and the way they just demoralize opponents. But they played with an energy and they played with a focus. And what I really liked was offensively, they kept the court. They were spread. They distributed the ball. They ran offense, and they looked more seasoned than the young, inexperienced group that they are.
Let's take a look at the highlights. And Tiffany Hayes averaged 10 points a game last year as a sophomore. I think it's safe to assume that we're going to see more than 10 per game this year.
Well, I like the way she mixed it up. You know, long range, but also getting in the lane, getting bumped. You know, the emotion. And how about Dolson, the big girl, and Bria Hartley? Boy, are we going to see a lot out of that young lady. And the terrific dish from Kelly Farris to Samari Walker. And there's a lot of good stuff ahead for this group.
Walker was 5 for 6 from the floor. Farris had 7 assists. That's a career high. So next up is Baylor, the team that UConn beat in the semifinals in San Antonio in the Final Four in April. Baylor and Stanford enter the season tied for number 2 in the national rankings. UConn's number 1. And Baylor has in 6'8" Brittany Griner, perhaps the most potent post player in the country.
Certainly the most talked about.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be an interesting matchup on Tuesday.
Well, it is, and I think, you know, there's so much talk about Brittany Griner. But I think the game is going to be won at every other position, particularly the backcourt. But if UConn can neutralize the other 4 players on the court, whomever they may be, I think they have a very good shot at winning this game.
And UConn will take a 79-game winning streak into that game against Baylor. Baylor, one of several nationally ranked non-conference opponents. The schedule is loaded. That Ohio State game will be in the Maggie Dixon Classic. The Florida State game, if UConn can manage to be undefeated entering that game, that would be the game that UConn would be going for their 89th straight win. The UCLA men won 88 in a row. And then a rematch, Meg, of the national championship game, except this one is going to be at Stanford on December 30th.
Well, there's no rest for the weary, that's for sure. You can't knock UConn anymore for their schedule. And, you know, for years they would win games and people say, well, you don't play anybody. Well, they certainly do. And the Big East has gotten much, much better. And if you look at their out-of-conference schedule, I mean, there's no one who's got a better schedule, I don't think, in the country. And so these guys, while they've got a very young, inexperienced club, they've got an incredibly grueling, difficult schedule.
UConn will play 12 games against 11 teams who are ranked in the top 25 entering the season, including, by the way, 4 other teams in the Big East. So the Huskies win this one, and they go to 1-0. Holy Cross slips to 0-2. Next up for UConn will be that nationally televised date with Baylor, Tuesday night, 6 o'clock at the XL Center. Our next UConn telecast here on CPTV will be next Sunday afternoon from Atlanta when the Huskies take on Georgia Tech. That's the team that UConn played to begin this 79-game winning streak. The opening day opponent 2 years ago, and UConn only won that one by 11. This one will be in Atlanta. Will be a homecoming for Maya Moore, and we'll have it for you next Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock on Connecticut Public Television as the Huskies continue their quest to win a third consecutive national championship. Thanks to our own Rookie of the Day, Adam Prince, did a great job keeping stats. For Megan Kumo, I'm Bob Picozzi. Once again, our final, UConn 117 and Holy Cross 37. Stay tuned now on CPTV for Home Time. The preceding has been a production of Connecticut Public Television. So long from Gamble Pavilion.